As photographers, sharing our work across multiple platforms is more important than ever, but this can be a real source of frustration for a lot of reasons. Well, Adobe has just released an update for Lightroom Mobile that can make a massive difference to the way that we share our work. Let me show you what I mean. Now, like most photographers, I like to do pretty much all my editing exclusively on a desktop. It allows for greater control, it's great using a bigger screen, and I just feel like I can be a lot more true to my edit when I'm doing it on a desktop. But when it comes to exporting and then uploading to social media, that's almost exclusively done on my mobile. Because the social media apps are all on my phone, I can just export once to my phone and then upload it to those social media apps. Now with Lightroom Mobile, it's synced to my Lightroom on my desktop. And that's really handy for a couple of reasons. First of all, for most people watching this channel, you won't have a calibrated monitor for editing on. And in my opinion, you don't really need one unless you're doing proper big campaigns that are 100% accurate on true colors. A way you can get around this, a few people have suggested this before, is by editing on your computer and then looking at it on your phone. Phone screens are pretty much accurate all the time, and that means that you can see those photos as people are going to see them on their phones. Now, one of the most frustrating things when it comes to sharing on social media is the crop factor. Now, a lot of different social medias put different crops on your images. For example, Instagram, the tallest crop you can do is a 4:5. Now, this will work in a lot of cases. You can do a 4:5 crop and it'll look fine. But for a lot of photos, a 4:5 crop doesn't truly represent the composition that we want. Maybe we've got a 9:16 crop that really takes in maybe a tall tree or something like that we want to include in our image. But because of the crop factor on Instagram, you simply can't. It's the same with things like Twitter as well. They don't have a crop on the actual image, but on the preview they do, which can be really frustrating if you're sharing your work. So you have to actually click on the photo to get the full crop, which means that you have to take a picture or think about your composition for social media. Now, one common way that people have overcome this in the past is by adding a border around their photo. But this has to be done in maybe Photoshop or some other software or an app on your phone specifically designed for that. These can cost money, or if they're free, sometimes they're a bit dodgy and they sell your data, which I'm not particularly a big fan of. But with Lightroom Mobile specifically, they've just released a feature that isn't available on the desktop version to overcome this problem. So this week I had the opportunity to do some street photography because I was out on a family boat ride, and I got this specific photo that I wanted to share. Now, this is quite a tall image. As you can see, it's a 2:3 crop. This is, so it was the original size, just cropped in a little bit to cut out some mess around the edges. But in order to share this to something like Instagram, I'd have to crop it even more down to a 4:5. Now, that would have cut off in between this "do not lean on this door" sign, which I wanted to include because I thought it was a nice little feature. It makes it look like it's through the eye of a human looking through that window frame. So what I normally would have done is maybe just compromised and cropped it if I was in a rush, or added a border in some other app. But now in Lightroom, if you go to share it, as you can see, you can add border and share. If we press on that, it's a really simple feature, but don't sleep on this. It's a really useful one. So at the bottom, you can see you can select whatever crop size you want. So if it's for Instagram, I would recommend a 4:5. As you can see, what it's done is added 2 bars down the side. That would be fine. You'd get the full length of the photo and it would share the whole image and people could zoom in easily and see the detail. What you could do if you want to make it a little bit more as if it's in a frame is just increase the thickness a little bit. It just adds a border. Really nice looking, really simple, and you can share your whole image. And also, changing the color can be useful as well, because maybe you want a darker tone to express the sort of feeling you want from your image. And maybe you want to have one color for all your photos so that when people see your photo, they know it's one from you. So say you want a red border on all your photos, everybody will know that's a Joshua Pegg photo, for example. I personally won't be doing this because I like to keep my images simple, and to me, that distracts from the image a little bit. But it's an idea if you want to use it. Or another useful feature is for complementing or contrasting with colors that are within your picture. So for example, with this one, there's a strong orange tone from the building that's in the middle. So say I wanted to really make them pop even more. If I added a slightly purple border around the edge, it would really contrast with the orange of that building in the middle. And personally, I don't like that. I'm just going to stick with tones, but it is an option and it's good to know it's there. And then when you export it, it will go into your camera roll like that. That means that you can upload your whole image to Instagram really simply and quickly without worrying about having to do something in software afterwards or about cropping your composition more than you want to. Some of these other border options are really useful as well. So a 1x1 crop, if you're unsure what crop you should put it in, I would recommend the 1x1 crop because it always looks good, in my opinion, having that square frame around it, and whatever social media you upload to, it'll still look good. Some social medias do allow you to upload in any crop that you want. That's why photographers particularly like Vero so much, because there's no crop on the images. Whatever you upload is what's displayed on the screen. That's something that I really like about that app. Personally, I think this is a really, really useful feature that I'll definitely be making more use of. Being able to upload images really quickly to social media is really important in my opinion, because maybe you've got a lot of photos that you want to upload, or if you're like me and you're doing content creation around photography, being able to put out content really quickly is a massive part of this as a business plan. And it's something that I've been hoping they'd be releasing for a long time, and I'm glad they have now. Will you be using this feature? Let me know down in the comments, or maybe you've got a different idea, a different way of overcoming this problem that we have in social media. Let me know. I'd love to hear what you think. Now, editing on mobile can be really difficult, especially when you compare it to editing on a desktop, but it still can be done if you keep your edit nice and simple. In fact, if you watch this video here, I share a really simple way that I edited one of my portfolio images in a way that you can copy if you want to. I'll see you next time.